In 1972, American jazz rock supergroup Full Moon released their first of two eponymous non-consecutive albums, and from it, the Neil Larsen composition, Midnight Pass. Okay, already we're hearing some silvery lines right there by guitarist Buzzy Feiten, one person coming to the table with somewhat of an established reputation at this point, having been in the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, and written by, the Neil Larsen on synth. Well, more on him in a bit. Pretty sophisticated in its integration of like jazz and pop rock at this point. I mean, considering this is 1972, I mean, very little had come out stateside in this, or really anywhere in this realm yet. And it's got like a polish to it, like a clarity, a smoothness. I would date this to later in the decade if I didn't know. Yeah, so far this has like West Coast written all, like late '70s West Coast written all over it. Like. Okay, the rhythm section are really aiding the fluidity there. We've got bass work on this album by Dave Holland and Fred Beckmeier. Wow, is that the, let's see, the, the English double bassist Dave Holland. And Fred Beckmeier, the bassist proper of the band, who had also been in the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, and would appear in the TSOP act Soul Survivors, and American Flyer alongside Doug Yule. Yeah, a genuine kind of like West Coast rustic band, and later on albums by Ezra Mohawk and Bonnie Bramlett, the Greg Allman Band, a couple of Mike Pinder solo albums. I guess much later, long after he left the Moody Blues, yeah. Okay, now we're hearing the keyboard tones of Neil Larsen on electric piano right there. I hear that little kind of bell-like tone, like kind of like doorbell type tones, and a real like Latin feel to this number. Percussion, four people credited: Buzzy Feiten, the guitarist, Airto, Moreira, the Brazilian, ubiquitous one, who at this point was in the original lineup of Return to Forever with his wife Flora Purim, and Ray Barretto, and Phillip Wilson, who it was in the Art Ensemble of Chicago, one of the quieter members of that congregate. And I should also say Phillip Wilson is the drummer too. He's handling the main drums, yeah. Yeah, this being, I guess, perhaps one of his like second most significant gigs. He, of course, yeah, he played amongst the almighties of free jazz, Lester Bowie, Roscoe Mitchell, and also Julius Hemphill, Anthony Braxton, David Murray. Yeah, so he tended to work the more avant-garde end of the spectrum, but and had also played with Paul Butterfield. Went back with that band, I think, a bit further than Buzz. Okay, we're basically vacillating between two na 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 B flat D minor no. We're kind of like B minor with an emphasis on the third D, and then D with, I think, an open second. Yeah, E. I'm hearing over that, like da no 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 over bum bum. Buzz is giving us these little fluid tones right over here, coming out of my right speaker, just as light as a tap, but like kind of like that legato feel. I'm hearing a little bit of that kind of acidic quality, like that kind of like jam rock quality. Actually, yeah, Santana could be a reference point here. And then that break right there is very sophisticated for a 1972 jazz rock composition. I gotta say, just having it all so tight, like the soloing, the jamming is really restrained here for a 1972 release. The sonorities, the sound control, very clean, polished, and overall the composition takes precedent, you could say, over any like kind of like looser playing, but yet there's a lot of interplay and counterpoint nonetheless. Yeah, at least 3 years ahead of its time, if not like 6 or 7. That is quite a sax solo right there. Yeah, just as I'm playing this really closely right now, I'm really coming to appreciate what a pioneering release this was. I hadn't quite previously thought of Full Moon is right in there among the first wave of jazz rock innovators. But I mean, at this point, Mahavishnu Orchestra had only put out one album. Return to Forever hadn't even entered their electric phase yet. The electric kind of like jazz rock phase. The jazz rock scene mostly consisted of like brass rock at that point, which was a slightly different kind of animal. That was more kind of like blues rock with horns and the occasional kind of jazzy passage, the occasional like walking bass line and chromatic run. But this, yeah, and considering that when jazz rock did kind of initially get established, Europe kind of ran with the ball a bit more. Were a bit more prompt in picking up in it then musicians were stateside. And it wasn't until like 1975 or so that you had bands like springing up, like planes and this and let's see, saxophone by Gene Dinwiddie. Also, this band by and large comes from the ashes of the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, which is amazing. Yeah, and it really gives me kind of like a newfound appreciation for. I got to explore that catalog a bit more, as a matter of fact. Oh, how timely! The saxophonist, yeah, Dinwiddie. He appeared the same year. He appears on Todd Rundgren's Something Anything. I guess, yeah, on that side 4, kind of live in studio. The one side of the album that Todd Rundgren didn't perform entirely himself. Yeah, and the following year he appeared on that Lightning Rod album, Hustlers Convention, along with members of Kool and the Gang. That part right there, just so slick, so tight, composed, and yet kind of fluid, and just the integration of. It's almost like this band in some ways. We're so like forward thinking in the whole cross pollination of jazz and rock that they wanted to almost kind of like skip over the more fiery, kind of looser, fractious elements that would initially come to the fore as the two were colliding, and get right to kind of like the smoother and like the Yellow Jackets or the Rippingtons or something, Spyrogyra. They were anticipating like later developments before we even had the the stuff that would lead or pave the way. Oh, and just a psychedelic little bit there at the fade out. Yeah, a little beautiful, piano, electric piano glissando, and that kind of echoey sound at the end. And yeah, just to remind us that this is in fact an early 70s release. Yeah, Full Moon. Midnight Pass from the 1972 album Full Moon. And it would be their only album for some time in 1980. 8 years later, after Neil Larsen had put out some solo albums and members had done other things, the lineup basically reconvened as the Neil Larsen Buzzy Feiten Band. And then in 1982, they resurrected the Full Moon nameplate for a second self-titled album. So in that rare that rare club of bands who put out 2 albums exactly 10 years apart from one another. Yeah, there are a few that belong in that club. That's a topic. Leave comments if you can think of if any come to mind. Anyway, yeah, Full Moon, a very forward-thinking band with a very fine release on Douglas label in 1972. And the talent within this band, let's see, Buzzy Feiten. I saw someone recently name him as their favorite guitarist. Let's see, the same year he appeared on Syrita's eponymous album. He appeared on Music of My Mind by Stevie Wonder. He would go on in the upcoming years to appear on LaBelle's Pressure Cookin' album. Oh, he also appeared on Hustlers Convention. And let's see, as the years unraveled, albums by David Sanborn, Gene Clark, his bandmate Neil Larsen, Gary Wright, Lanny Hall, Bill Quaterman, Yeah, Tim Weisberg, Stephen Bishop appeared on Red Cap to Manhattan. Yeah, I did something off that months ago. Yeah, the story of the boy in love. Yeah. Anyway, and this goes on. Ricky Lee Jones. For more Rubies and Sapphires from the Full Moon album, see the directory of albums by American jazz pop and blue-eyed soul artists linked in the description below. Like and subscribe, follow me on social media, and share the video, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the track we just heard, the interplay, the nuances, the soloing, the harmonics, the counterpoint, the sounds, the tones, the nature of the composition and its character and its brilliance and beauty, and your observations on just its place kind of historically, like, and such. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear-troubled trimaximalist, signing off.